Hey guys, what is up? This is Gothcat, finally bringing you the 100 subscriber special. That's right. We did it. We finally made it to 100 subscribers after about a year and a half on YouTube. So, thank you guys so much for getting me to that little milestone. Sorry it took so long because basically work and responsibility got in the way, so there's that. What I'm going to be reading for you tonight is a bunch of stories from an old web page containing not only the original version of Day of All the Blood, but also a bunch more of the oldest troll pastas on the internet, and is a webpage called Ghastly Macaroni. And guess what? I'm going to be reading all of the troll pastas on that page, so just you sit back and enjoy. This is the story of a day where there was all this blood. A man was walking around and blood started coming out of him everywhere. He tried to go swimming and all of the sharks went crazy. He got chased by all the vampires. When he went to the store, people were slipping on all the blood and they looked at it and threw up. One time, the blood got a kid and a dog. At the end of the day, everyone decided they would send him to space forever. The scariest part is that the man was you. Or he was a lady if you're a lady, and you forgot that this happened. One time, there were all these cool guys standing around with their hands in their pockets and their big zippers looking around with their rad specs and not being careful. Just then, a bus pulled up and was the blackest, most evil bus the cool guys had ever seen, and they had seen some really evil buses in their time on the streets. The bus opened its black evil door and a giant gorilla on fire stepped out of it. He was punching all the cool guys with his big gorilla fists that were on fire at the same time. The cool guys got punched and burned real bad, but the different guy was okay. Let this be a lesson to everyone who thinks they are too cool to even be careful. One time, there were all of these bad ladies around. Then one day, this awesome dude came up to them and told them to marry him. He was so awesome with his rat specs and dinosaur skateboard that they all married him. But then he got his rat specs knocked off, and they found out he was the ugliest monster ever. More uglier than an old brown shoe with rotten throw up all over it, and part of a frog inside. All of the ladies had to live with him in a gross house, and they had ugly babies forever. One day, every firefighter in the world disappeared. Where'd they go? Nobody knows. Without any firefighters, every house gets on fire and no one can do anything about it. Everyone on Earth is homeless and has to rent a bad hotel, even the president. Secret twist, the hotel did it. This is a story where everyone thinks there is no such thing as headless alligators. But one day, someone opened a door in a old house and the headless alligators came out for real. They went around and they attacked so many people that there was almost nobody left. The survivors built a fort on a mountain protected by the longest moat, but the headless alligators were out there waiting and food was running low. The people tried to make a plane that could save them, but in the end it turned out that the pilot was a headless alligator the whole time. Also, he did not know how to fly a plane. One day there was a couple of scuba divers who saw a sign that said no scuba diving, and they had such poor parentage that they didn't even look at it. Just when they were having a good time scuba diving, they found the secret place that makes all of the bad guys. When they saw the bad guys coming out of it and looking around, they got so afraid that they never scuba dived again. However, years later, some of the bad guys found them and broke some of their things. I bet you think that all of these stories are pretend, but guess what? This one is for real. How do I know? Well, I know because I am looking at you and I know all of your secrets. I even know your favorite animal. One day, I looked at you in the bathroom. Maybe I will break something and tell everybody it was you. There is nothing you can do to stop me. But guess what? I am a dead skull. One day you will get a weird big letter that says it is from you. It will be a little wet and have a stamp on of the blackest, most grossest headless evil dog you ever saw. If you open the letter, you will discover that you have been mailed spikes and you will die on the spikes. However, if you post this on 4 message boards, the letter will not have spikes in it, but it will have some alright fudge and a brown ribbon you can put on something. One day, a scientist made a machine that he thought will turn rain into a cure for all germs, but something went terribly wrong. Instead, the rain turned into demons. Demons were falling out of the sky, and they were defeating everyone in the world with their fully leveled swords. Even the biggest, most powerful bear was defeated. Warning, spoiler title. One day you woke up and there was like this frog on you. You were all startled and said, "What?" as you gently put the frog outside in horror. Then you turned around and there was another frog, like sitting in a box in your house. Then you noticed that there was a frog on the TV and on the fridge and one in each of your shoes, and one was even warning SFW in the bathroom on the toilet seat. You ran all around horrified and screaming and putting them outside where they belong. When finally you look in the mirror and realize that those frogs were you, and now you are completely locked out of your house. This is the story of the worst, most bloody horror day in the world. 2 kids found it and they never got out alive. All day long they were getting stabbed by guys like in Scream. All of the Scream guys were coming out of the cabinets and rolling around stabbing the kids. They tried to call the police, but the police were Scream guys too. Then they opened up a box that they think would have sandwiches in it, but there were so many Scream guys coming out that the 2 kids drowned in all the knives. They were so stabbed that there was not even dust left of these kids. One day, some bad kids who did not listen in church got some tarot cards and a Ouija board. They played with cards all over the board while using the board at the same time, and Double Satan came out and killed them with his energy kick attack. The bad kids had to go to double hell, where they had nothing to eat but pizza with some dirt on it, and they could only watch the scariest, most horrible R-rated movies, and the only cat they were allowed to have did not like being petted, and they even had to touch lady boobs all day. They were so grossed out and scared that they wanted to go home, but guess what? You can never go home from double hell. If you do not copy this text to 8.5 people, there will be 2 bears every time you open a door forever.